Hi everybody. Another week has passed since starting on this journey, so it's now been 8 weeks, which to me is hard to believe. By the way, you'll notice I'm doing this a day early from my normal Monday, but I have a funeral to go to tomorrow, so I decided to do it a day early rather than a day late. As promised, here's my 8-week photo. Wow, I didn't realize just how much a pig I am. Oh well, all the more reason to be doing this, right? Frankly, I don't see much difference yet, but it's still very early. I've plateaued somewhat on the weight loss, not having lost anything last week. But that's okay, because I've said from the very beginning that losing weight will just be a side benefit of eating this way. Plus, as you know, losing weight isn't the only sign of progress. While I haven't been keeping track or even taken my measurements, I am starting to notice my clothing, particularly my pants, loosening up some. For years and for obvious reasons, I've been buying pants that stretch at the waistline, and when I started this diet, it was all I could do to stretch them enough to get them buttoned and zipped. I noticed this morning that I hardly had to stretch them at all. Wow, before long I may have to start thinking about buying some new clothes. Something my mom would have referred to as good troubles. As you can see, I've entitled today's video, The Healthiest Diet for Seniors, with the word emphasized and underlined. So why am I so confident that it's true, especially since I've only been eating this way for only 8 weeks? The first thing I'd encourage you to do, if you have any doubts about the effectiveness of eating whole foods plant-based, is to do some research on your own. You'll find tons of information out there about eating a whole foods plant-based diet. As they say, the proof is in the pudding. And one of the best sites to look at is nutritionstudies.org, which is run by Dr. T. Colin Campbell, who co-authored the book The China Study with his son, Dr. Thomas M. Campbell II. The book has sold over 1 million copies and is one of the best-selling books of all time written on nutrition. I've already mentioned this book in at least one earlier video, and will probably refer to it lots more as I go along. Here's how Wikipedia describes the book. The China Study examines the link between the consumption of animal products, including dairy, and chronic illnesses such as coronary heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and bowel cancer. The authors conclude that people who eat a predominantly whole food, vegan diet, avoiding animal products as a source of nutrition, including beef, pork, poultry, fish, eggs, cheese, and milk, and reducing their intake of processed foods and refined carbohydrates, will escape, reduce, or reverse the development of numerous diseases. They write that, quote, eating foods that contain any cholesterol above 0 milligrams is unhealthy, unquote. I also recommend that you look up Jane Birch's website, discoveringthewordofwisdom.com, for many success stories and her own story of how she stumbled upon this way of eating. She wrote a book by the same name, Discovering the Word of Wisdom, which I recommend, and you can buy it from her on her website or on Amazon. As you know, I've referred to Jane's work in the past. The best evidence as to whether a whole foods plant-based diet is healthy or not is with people who have either tried the diet themselves and or, as in the case of what I'm about to read, a story of a loving daughter putting her elderly mom on the program. I say it that way because on Dr. Campbell's website, there's an article written by a lady by the name of Meg Donahue entitled, quote, "From Hospice to Healthy, How a Plant-Based Diet Saved Mom's Life and Inspired a Business," unquote. She originally wrote the article in July 2017, but updated it January 2019. And here are pictures of mom and daughter. I wouldn't ordinarily read a fairly long article like this, but I don't want to paraphrase and do it a disservice. So here goes. She starts out by saying, quote, This story is about food, science, and love. Just make her comfortable. Nobody wants to hear a doctor say this about a loved one. We all know it's code for the end is close and there's nothing else you can do. I know the sinking frustration of these words firsthand. In 2011, at 80 years old, my mother, Millie, was released from the hospital. Her doctor suggested we get her affairs in order, get help, hospice care, and the dreaded make her comfortable. And by the way, since I have congestive heart failure myself, this next part was of special interest to me. Anyway, she goes on to say, quote, she had congestive heart failure with an ejection fraction hovering around 10% and dipping. A host of other problems followed. Kidney infections, lung problems. She was too weak for surgery, and we were running out of hope. We were a close family, and I just couldn't reconcile that my mom, a once vibrant woman, avid tennis player, and a bit of a health nut, was now dying. Out of desperation, I Googled surviving late-stage congestive heart failure. I came across the research of Dr. T. Colin Campbell and Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn and read everything I could about a whole food, plant-based diet could prevent and possibly reverse heart disease. It made intuitive sense to me. Eat real food and your body will move toward health. But could it change the course of heart disease in a very sick, old heart? I brought Mom home to live with me in a small, renovated apartment in our garage. We started with smoothies and blended soups because she was too weak to try anything else. We worked our way up from there, replacing the meat, cheese, and dairy in her diet with fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes. Legumes, by the way, are like beans and peas and so forth. We saw improvement almost immediately, but her health was a delicate ecosystem, and it didn't take much to send her back to the intensive care unit. Typically a bout of dehydration. We just kept giving her whole foods plant-based meals, and even with occasional dips in her health, she improved. We first thought she had months to live, but within those months of eating a whole food plant-based diet, the color came back to her face. Her appetite increased. She was able to get up and walk from the bed to bathroom without assistance. And best of all, she could hold my newborn daughter. Each year, yes, each year, she got better still. When we brought her back in to see her cardiologist, the same one who had prepared us for hospice care, we found her heart function was now at 45%. She's 86 now, swims 4 times a week, drives, yikes, that's her daughter saying that, and lives a very full life. The experience changed all of us. Because I was cooking for my mom, my family also transitioned to a whole foods plant-based diet. Within weeks, my chronic fatigue and beginnings of macular degeneration cleared up. My partner, Lisa, saw her blood pressure go from its usual 155 over 110 to 127 over 80. I needed to understand what was going on, specifically why, do plant-based foods have such profound health benefits? I went back to where it all started for me and decided to enroll in the T. Colin Campbell Center's Plant-Based Nutrition Certificate. I wanted to get a basic foundation in the science, and it was during this course where I came to understand that so many of us don't have to live with illness and pain. My eyes were opened to the critical role diet has in both prevention and reversal of common chronic disease like diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. The plant-based nutrition certificate was a game changer for me. If I could, I'd have everyone I know go through it. People often call my mother's recovery a miracle. And while I understand the sentiment, I believe the miraculous thing may be that so much illness could be avoided if people could only move from foods that hurt to foods that heal. But as they say, it wasn't all kittens and rainbows. For us, changing our diet did not come without its own difficulties. One of the major problems we found with eating this way is that you need to spend a lot of time in the kitchen preparing and chopping. And that's chopping with a CH. And the recipes and taste profiles were unfamiliar. We wondered if there was an easier way to eat healthy. Was there a company out there that would prepare fresh and hearty plant-based foods for us, then deliver to our door? Our search for one came up empty. And so a business was born. Lisa was the former owner and longtime CEO of Vermont Bread Company. And so we decided to put our organic food background to use again. This time with a mission to make eating a whole food plant-based diet easy. In the fall of 2016, we launched MamaSays.com, a plant-based meal delivery service out of Keene, New Hampshire. Delivering nationwide, we're a resource for those who want to eat healthy meals but don't necessarily have the time, energy, or know-how to prepare food on their own. We take the hassle out of eating well by delivering hearty and delicious plant-based meals to your door, already cooked. For us, it's about so much more than quick and easy meals. We're committed to working with medical professionals, scientists, and nutritionists to bring the healing power of food to everyone. By the way, I wasn't paid to read that last part, although it's neat to know that such a service is available if you need it, and obviously have the money for it, because I'm gathering it's on the pricey side. That story gives you a glimpse of why I'm convinced that a whole food plant-based eating diet is the best thing you can do for yourself to become healthy, and yes, even reverse some serious, debilitating, and even fatal diseases. And in my case, I'm hoping the reversal of the congestive heart failure. Obviously, we all have to die sometime, that's true. But it's a fact that we can not only live longer by eating healthier, but we can have a much better quality of life as we get older. So now you know why I'm doing this for myself, and hopefully be an example for others to follow if they so desire. But of course, since the proof is in the pudding, I've got a long way to go before I can truly say that I know firsthand that this is the healthiest way to eat. I do hope you won't wait, though, to see how I do before jumping on board yourself. Come on now. It'll be fun to do it together, right? That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If not, please write your suggestions below as to how we can improve. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as click on the bell when it pops up, so you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. And tell all your friends and associates about the channel. Bye, and have a great week.